Hey, hey, here we are with another commander deck. This is Donatello Gadget Master, a card that was accidentally revealed to the world during the Lorwyn pre-release. There are some people out there who actually have this card. It's not supposed to come out for quite some time, but since it exists in the world and it has been spoiled on the internet, we can make commander decks based on him. He is a turtle, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, legendary, mono blue, 2 and a blue, 3/2. He is very efficient, very cheap, and can even come out on turn 2 with the sneak ability. You can pay 1 and a blue, very much like ninjutsu, except with a little more restrictions, I believe. If another creature is attacking, you can return it to your hand if it's unblocked, and then throw in Donatello instead, tapped and attacking. Whenever he deals combat damage to a player, you create a token that's a copy of target artifact you control. That is any artifact on your whole battlefield. You can make a copy of it. Enters as a token. This is really strong. I believe it is a good way for blue to have some like great value, but then also get some big power on the board. Because spoiler alert, this deck has a lot of artifact creatures and some very, very big ones. In this category, there are 8 of these really strong artifact creatures that you can make copies of with Donatello. So Donatello swings in, hits somebody for that 3, and if you have out, for instance, a Blight Steel Colossus, you can make a copy of Blight Steel Colossus. So you suddenly have 2 of them. And that basically means you win. I think they have to get rid of them or they're dead because 11/11 trample infect indestructible. Yeah, that's gonna be done. If they hit somebody, they lose 11 life. They lose 11, not 11 life. They take 11 poison counters and they die. So Donatello makes up for what I think is a huge vulnerability in mono blue is being able to win the game. There's not a lot of great blue like win the game type cards unless you're talking about like Thassa's Oracle. But this deck, you can have these huge artifact creatures, make copies of them, swing in, win the game that way. But before that, I mean, these things cost so much mana, so you have to get up to this. Um, you can just swing in with Donatello, get him down really early, and start making copies of like some great little value cards. Like all your ramp spells, you can just make copies of these. They're mostly artifacts. Like you can make a copy of a Soul Ring, Sapphire Medallion, Ornithopter of Paradise, Gilded Lotus. If you make a copy of Gilded Lotus, that's 6 mana every turn. It's going to get you a lot closer to being able to play your huge Haymakers. And then you just have all these copies of these huge value pieces as well. You can make copies of Home of Legends, drawing 2 cards whenever Donatello attacks if you want. Make copies of Canoptech Spider. It's really cool. You can look for cards that sort of work if you make a copy of it. So, like, if you make a copy of the spider, it triggers the first spider, and then if you play anything, you draw 2 cards. Same with Research Thief. If you make a copy of Research Thief, suddenly, whenever your artifacts deal combat damage, you draw 2 cards, and the Research Thieves can sort of trigger off of each other. So Donatello making these copies is big. There's a couple of token synergies in mono blue, but it's a little bit rough. You're mostly looking for artifact synergies, like Stridehanger Automaton here. Whenever you make a copy of Donatello, you'll make a Thopter, which is sweet because then that means you can go ahead and play Donatello by returning one of those Thopters to your hand, unfortunately sacrificing it. But you can just bring Donatello back. Um, and like Ginger Brute is a sweet one for sort of the very, very early game. One thing about Donatello, you need to make sure he hits. So there's a lot of ways to give him evasion in mono blue. Um, where's that category? Yeah. You want to be able to like make him evasive forever. So cards like Whisper Silk Cloak, Manifold Key, Brotherhood Regalia is so good. It's so expensive. There's cheaper versions of this that just cost a little bit more mana. Or Psychic Paper. This is such a good one. Like gives it Ward 1 and just can't be blocked. There's all this other stuff about like choosing a name. You can just ignore that. This is just 2 mana, equip for 2, ward 1, can be blocked. Crazy good. Um, and then another theme of this deck is clones. Because you're making all these copies of artifacts, it's sort of good to just keep doing that. Like just make more clones, make more copies of artifacts. It's good to be able to make copies of creatures that and turn them into artifacts. So if your opponent, say your opponent has a Terror of the Peaks, this huge 5 mana dragon, does a whole bunch of damage. It's in red. You can't play Terror of the Peaks in this deck. What you can do is play a Phyrexian Metamorph, make a copy of Terror of the Peaks. Now, whenever Donatello attacks, you make a second copy of Terror of the Peaks. You're going to be winning that game real fast, doing a whole bunch of damage. This also works for like Eldrazi or any whatever big creatures your opponents have. So you have these clones that can either make a copy of your stuff or a copy of somebody else's stuff. Flash photography. I can't believe like this card. They just tangent here. They made this card for a scene box. It's so good. It costs $20, as you can see. It's just like the best clone card they've ever made, maybe, unless you count Metamorph. I guess Metamorph is a little bit better because it costs 3. But Flash Photography can have Flash. You can copy anything. You can Flash it back. So good. Tangent off. So you have your clones. You make your copies. Donatello, really great because getting this effect once is good. Like, getting this effect once is very good. But Donatello, if you get it down quick enough, you can maybe do this effect like 5 times in a game. If Donatello sticks around, you try to protect him 5 times. Donatello swings, you make a copy of something, swings, you make a copy of something. If you do that with like even a Soul Ring, you're gonna have so much more mana than everyone else in your mono blue deck. You can do that with Gilded Lotus. You can even do that with lands. So what you really want, like a really good pattern for Donatello, is turn 1, like Seed of the Synod, artifact land, play like a Ginger Brute. Turn 2, swing with the Ginger Brute, unblockable, or just one of your opponents doesn't have a blocker yet because it's turn 2. Um, you you ninjutsu the Ginger Brute, you drop Donatello, you make a copy of your Seed of the Synod. Suddenly you've ramped on 2, your commander's out. You've ramped a land too, which is sweet. Um, and then next turn you have access to 4 mana. And then the turn after that you have access to 6 mana. And that doesn't even count if you're playing like Soul Rings or Gilded Lotuses. You can make so much mana. You copy a Caged Sun. 2 Caged Suns means all your islands tap for 3 now. You can actually ramp quite a bit in this mono blue deck, which means it like having this huge sort of mana curve of these big cards at the top here, pretty doable. And then just having all that mana too, good to have for your interaction pieces, your counter spells, your sink into stupors. True Polymorph is a pet card of mine. You can certainly replace this with a good card, but I like this because it is very versatile. You can you can use this as a removal spell. You can use this as like a win the game spell. You can just transform things into other things permanently. You're going to have a lot of little artifacts lying around, so you can turn your opponent's Emrakul or not Emrakul, Ulamog into a Thopter token or into a Darksteel Citadel, or you can turn your Darksteel Citadel into their Emrakul or Ulamog. So you're just gonna be able to have a lot you can do with this card. It costs 6 mana. It's an instant. Like I said though, this deck you're gonna have a lot of mana. So that is sort of what you're going for here. You're going for weird clones, big artifacts, swing, 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 uh, mono blue scariness. Keep your commander evasive, like I said. Um, if you need to mass disrupt, you can go ahead and play like a Aetherize. Desynchronization is pretty sweet because it doesn't bounce your artifacts. Because your deck is full of these artifacts. This bounces like other people's non-legendary, non-artifact creatures. Um, their enchantments, all kinds of stuff can get bounced with this. Season of the Weaving is sweet. Season of Weaving because it's also a clone. You draw cards with it, bounce everything, um, make a copy of an artifact, make a copy of a Blightsteel, and then bounce everything, killing somebody no matter what because you've bounced everything, and that's just magic for you. That's magic. I think it's really sweet. Oh yeah, one more Portal Phyrexia. This is definitely the best card in the deck. It's $40. But if you can drop a Portal Phyrexia and copy it, you've board wiped your opponents, and now you're going to start taking two of their creatures every turn from their graveyards or your graveyard. Donatello is an ally of the Phyrexians, I suppose. But yeah, lots of options here, lots of artifacts. Maybe you want to put more removal in. Maybe you want to put an Ornithopter in. Pretty sweet for bouncing Donatello with that ninjutsu. Just doesn't have that much impact later in the game. Maybe you want to put a Platinum Angel in. Make a bunch of Platinum Angels, making it super hard for you to lose ever. Or maybe this is the one deck where Mechanized Production will finally work. Make enough copies of Donatello and Mechanized Production. You might just get that alternate win condition, making 8 artifact tokens. Maybe you've got 8 Blightsteals, and then you win the game with 8 Blightsteals. Um, but you could also maybe this is the one deck that can finally be the bobblehead commander, because you've got all these bobbleheads. Feel free to look at these bobbleheads at any time. Go ahead and look these up. They're not very strong. They are these 3 mana rocks that have these abilities that get better the more bobbleheads you have. And if you collect all the bobbleheads, you have a chance at the luck bobblehead. Uh, if you roll 6 dice with the luck bobblehead, and you get or no, you need 7 bobbleheads. So you you roll 7 6-sided dice. If you get 6 7s, or if you get 7 6s, you win. So Donatello might just be the bobblehead commander. If you get enough luck bobbleheads, you might just be able to start rolling those dice and win the game that way. So maybe I do want to make the bobblehead version of this deck, um, but this is much more of a just artifact good stuff deck versus strange bobblehead deck. But yeah, let me know what you think. You can put the One Ring in. You can put Mox Opal in. These are just sort of obvious good cards. Urza. But yeah, I usually do weekly deck techs on Fridays. Thanks for watching here. Peace.